So the New England Patriots are the favorites to land one of the top free agent wide receivers that's actually expected to hit the open market. A lot of you are probably listening to this saying, Colby, I've heard the T. Higgins reports. I've heard the Chris Godwin reports. I mean, come on. Can we talk about a realistic option for the Patriots? It's neither one of those guys. Yeah, this is a guy that's actually expected to hit free agency. So let's get into it. What is going on, everybody? It's Colby, also known as Patriots Global, back here with another video. Appreciate you for clicking on today's video to hear me talk about some Patriots news. Today's video, as always, brought to you by BetUS. We'll talk to you a little bit later how you can get an exclusive deal from them, but I think I've kept you guys on your toes for long enough. Who is the wide receiver that the Patriots are favorited to go after? Drum roll, please. At least let's imagine we got a drum roll. I got a lot of different sound effects here. I got a trombone. We got air horn, but we got a cricket, but I don't have a little brrr. So insert that here. It is Stefon Diggs. That is the wide receiver that the Patriots are favorited to go after. We're going to break down what Stefon Diggs could bring to the Patriots. What's his market value? How realistic do I think it is that the Patriots go after him? And is he someone that I would actually like to see the team target? Now, starting off here by looking on that contract, he is projected to get about a one-year deal. So kind of a prove-it deal is what the league is expecting him to get. Not a multi-year deal, but worth about $13.4 million. That would give him around the same contract that would comparable players here being, Tyler Lockett, DeAndre Hopkins, Jarvis Landry, Tyler Boyd. I think those make a ton of sense. I think a lot of people are going to look at this number and say $13.5 million. Are you freaking kidding me? But we have to keep in mind that $13.5 million is not what it used to be. I think some people still think that the league is what it was a few years ago, where wide receiver ones were cracking $20 to $25 million. Now, wide receiver ones are getting paid $35 upwards to $40 million per year. Every single offseason, a wide receiver is resetting that market. Why? Because every single offseason, the cap space in the NFL, that number is going up. So with that being said, when the overall cap space goes up, when teams have more money that they're able to spend because of this, ultimately the contracts that players are asking for is also going to go up. So if you look at this $13.5 million, that's low-key more like low-end wide receiver 2, higher-end wide receiver 3 money. So theoretically, this isn't all that bad if the Patriots did do this deal. You also have to understand the Patriots lead the NFL in cap space. They're about $25 million away from the second place Raiders, who have like 90-some million dollars in cap space. So the Patriots have a lot of money. They shouldn't be outbid by anybody. And if they make this deal, they're still going to have over $100 million in cap space to still spend. Also, if the Patriots gave him a one-year deal worth this $13.5 million, he would be paid as the 166th highest paid player in the NFL and paid as the 24th highest wide receiver. So again, really not that bad. Now, Diggs is coming off a season here, year one with the Houston Texans, who he signed with in free agency, or was he traded? I can't remember off the top of my head, but spent this past year with the Houston Texans and honestly looked like the old Stefon Diggs. Everybody wondered how Josh Allen and the Bills were going to look without him. Ultimately, they looked better without Diggs, but Diggs was starting to actually look better without the Buffalo Bills also, before ultimately he went down with a season-ending injury. It was either an ACL tear or an Achilles tear. I believe it was an ACL tear, though, that kept him out for the entirety of the season. Before he went down, he posted an overall PFF grade of 79, which ranked 21st out of a qualifying 98 wide receivers. He had a receiving grade of 79.7. That was 22nd out of 98 receivers. And then obviously didn't have a overall rushing grade here. He was targeted 62 times, 47 receptions, 496 yards, and 3 receiving touchdowns, and did all of that on only 288 pass snaps. Keep in mind, too, he was not wide receiver 1 when he was with the Texans. He was more like wide receiver 2. He kind of was tied with Tank Dell. Tank Dell was more so that wide receiver 3, but at times was utilized as wide receiver 2. Nico Collins was 100% easily that bona fide number 1 guy, but yet Stephon Diggs was perfectly fine with how he was utilized. Now, he did have 2 drops, but he was averaging 10.6 yards per reception, so roughly a first down per reception. And he had, quarterbacks had a passer rating of 108 when targeting him. So again, for the most part, a very reliable guy. Average depth of target was also about 8.3 yards. Hey, look, I'm just saying the fact that he put up just under 500 total yards in only 8 games, again, averaging 10.6 yards per reception. He was also averaging 62 yards a game. He was going to go over 1,000 total yards. Unfortunately, though, for Stephon Diggs, when it looked like he was about to be on an upward trajectory, he might have been one of those wide receivers that defied the odds of hitting his 30s. Looked like he could get one more pretty good contract before he retired. Like I mentioned earlier, did go down with that season-ending injury. He's 31 years old now. In November, he's going to be 32 years old. He's on the back end of his career. We know that receivers, every single year after they hit 30, statistically, this is a proven fact, they don't look like those same guys. They start to fall off. And now you're adding a season-ending injury, a serious season-ending injury on top of that. Is this really a bet that a team like the Patriots wants to make? What you also have to keep in mind on top of this, it's a type of player that Stephon Diggs is. I think that he would succeed really, really well in a Josh McDaniels scheme, right? He's somebody who can work in the slot. He can work outside. He's a veteran with regular season and postseason experience. I think he's that perfect mold for the type of receiver you're looking to pair with somebody like Drake May. That style of receiver of Stephon Diggs, who works really well in the short to intermediate route, but because of how good he is with his footwork, he runs really, really good routes, has one of the best route trees in the entire NFL. He can get open and be a threat in all 3 phases. But do you really want to bring on an aging wide receiver that is also a diva? We cannot underestimate the cancer that Stephon Diggs has been to every single organization that he has been in his career. Starts off with the Minnesota Vikings, ultimately ends up not being happy with his usage, not the number 1 guy, not the vocal point to the offense. He demands a trade. He starts to go off. He's a diva. He demands a trade. Goes to the Buffalo Bills. Everything looks pleasant. A few years in, what happens? He starts to do the same thing. I want my productions. I want the looks. I want to win. I want everything. Things don't go his way. He demands a trade. It looked good year 1 for the Texans, but I guarantee you a couple more years with them, the same thing would have happened. I don't think that it is ironic that Josh Allen goes over the last few seasons from being one of the most turnover-worthy quarterbacks in the NFL to year 1 without Stephon Diggs, his number 1 wide receiver that everybody said made Josh Allen. And Josh Allen wins MVP. He's a Dalton Kincaid catch away from potentially going to the Super Bowl. And he goes to being one of the least turnover-worthy quarterbacks in the NFL. Josh Allen was able to spread out the ball, put on his cape, and the Buffalo Bills were still successful even without Stephon Diggs. I think that says a lot about the type of player that he is. Now, before we continue on today's video, I want to give a massive shout out to the sponsors of this video over at BetUS. They have sponsored us all last season, all this season, and we want to appreciate them for working with us and all of the love that they give in this channel over the last few years. You guys know, and I tell you this all the time, we cannot be here without the sponsors. YouTube doesn't pay the way that people think. Doing YouTube, doing this social media, sportscasting all full time, you can't do it without the sponsors. So we want to give a massive shout out to them because they're the reason we're here with this channel, giving you guys some of the best Patriots content around. Right now, when you guys sign up and use the code you see on the screen, YouTube150, you'll be locked into a limited time exclusive offer of a 150% sign up bonus on your first deposit, followed by 125 on your next 2, all the way up to $2,000. That is a deal on your first 3 deposits right now. Deal doesn't stop there because they're also giving you 10% back on your net losses 2 times a year. Some of the cool things you can use with BetUS is not just NFL games, but NFL futures, such as the NFL draft. You can also bet on where some of the top free agents are going to land in free agency. You can bet on that. It's really, really cool. Use it on NBA, baseball, hockey, horse racing, fighting, politics, entertainment, you name it. BetUS is going to have it. Play smart, though. Play responsible. Never bet more than you can afford to lose. But a big shout out to BetUS. And now comes down to the two final verdicts. Number one, what do I think is ultimately going to happen? Number two, what do I think the team is going to think about this? And do I think the team is going to go out there and try to sign Stefon Diggs? Starting off here with my opinion, I say stay away. Again, this is somebody who I'm sure hates the Buffalo Bills, would love to get revenge on them twice a year, which that's a great thing to have on the team. Again, a veteran, bona fide, number one-ish, number two-ish wide receiver. Nonetheless, he'd immediately come on the Patriots, be the most productive guy. He would be their best guy, their most experienced guy. And this is a wide receiver group that doesn't just need a wide receiver one, but I vocally feel that the Patriots also need still a wide receiver two. But I don't believe that he's the guy that fits the bill. One, he's not going to be here when the Patriots start contending. So I sign a guy that's going to be out of the league in a year, 2 years, absolute max, and is on the decline. Also, that diva mentality. The Patriots need to start building a positive culture, a culture where you're playing for your teammates. You're playing for the guys to your left and playing to the guys for your right. You're not worried about you as an individual player. You're not worried about your own stats. That is something that we saw at points this past season, players being selfish, and we need to flush that out of the organization. I think that's something that Mike Vrabel is going to view very highly, is guys that have the correct mindset and are here to work as a team and as a unit and not as an individual. I just don't think that Stefon Diggs falls under that. As for what I think the team is going to view, I think they're going to view it as the exact same thing. Now, there's been a lot of reports over the last few days, but I did hear a report that supposedly Stefon Diggs is one of those guys that the Patriots, they're not expected to have interest in. Now, you never know. Rumors are rumors. You don't know until ultimately it happens. The Patriots, all the plans that they have, it might go to waste. But from what's been reported so far this offseason, if the Patriots cannot get a true wide receiver one, they can't go get DK Metcalf via trade, they don't get Chris Godwin or T. Higgins via free agency, then supposedly the Patriots, they're going to look towards the draft and the roster that they currently have. And I think that's exactly what they need to do. Don't bring in guys on the decline. Don't bring in number threes, number fours anymore. Bring in guys that are going to be here long term. They're going to help you get to a championship and be here when you actually get to that championship, and are going to fill a hole that you currently have at wide receiver one or wide receiver two. But this is where I kick it to you guys. What do you think about the Patriots being favorites to sign Stefon Diggs in free agency? Let me know in the comment section below. I would love to hear what you guys think about this one. I think there's going to be some controversial thoughts, but I'm really excited to read the comment section. As always, though, guys, I appreciate you so much for watching the video. I appreciate you so much, too, for being patient. The last few weeks have been absolutely insane. I mean, from Senior Bowl to Super Bowl, all the traveling we've been doing, all the other shows outside of this channel. There's been a lot going on. I'm excited to get more consistency here back on Patriots Global, and I appreciate your guys' patience tremendously. So make sure on your way out, you leave a big like on this video, subscribe to the channel for all your New England Patriots news. But until next time, go Pats.